Looking to start collecting and reusing rainwater for your property? The first question you might have is, what size tank do I need? In this video, we're going to show you how to calculate what size tank you'll need for your property so you can start collecting water and saving money on your water bill whilst helping the environment. Your plants will also enjoy being watered with fresh rainwater. Calculating the right tank size is important for two reasons. Firstly, you don't want the tank to be too big and collect more water than you will use, because there is a risk that the water will sit in the tank for long periods of time, and this is not advisable. Secondly, you don't want to install a tank that is too small if you can use the maximum amount of rainwater that you can collect. How do you calculate the tank size needed? There are several factors you need to consider when calculating the tank size. Where do you live? How many people are in your property? These factors will have an impact, as you may get more or less rain in a day than someone in a different city. The tank size is calculated in one of two ways. Firstly, we would look at the rainwater harvesting yield, which is how much you could potentially capture. We then compare this against the demand, how much rainwater will be reused. To calculate the rainwater yield, we'll take into consideration the catchment area, the location of where you are in the world, and the catchment coefficient, depending on the type of roof. We then divide this number by 360 to determine how much rainwater in litres you can capture per day, and then multiply this by a storage period to determine the tank size required. Or follow this simple equation. Footprint of your property times the drainage coefficient times the filter coefficient times the annual rainfall and times it by 0.5 will give you the recommended tank size. If you intend to use the harvested rainwater for just garden maintenance, it might be more useful to consider the following approximations based on a 100 litre water butt supplying a 1 litre watering can. 1 can of water used a day is 100 days of supply. 2 cans of water used a day is 50 days of supply. 3 cans of water equals 33 days of supply, and 4 cans of water uses 24 days of supply. We'll then take into account the yield potential. We will first look at the roof size of your property. The roof size is one of the most important figures to get right in the calculation. Sometimes the whole roof is just used as a collection area, and sometimes only the front or back of the house can be used as the collection area. This is especially true on existing properties where the drainage at the front of the house doesn't connect to the drainage from the downpipes at the rear of the property. In addition to this, it's worth considering if other nearby roof areas can be used as additional collection areas if you have a high demand for non-potable water. If you use a lot of water externally or have several toilets in the house with a high number of people living in the home, then it is at an advantage to collect as much rainwater as possible. The more accurate the square meter collection area is calculated, the better, to get the tank size right for your property. Then we will look at roof type. The type of roof your property has will also influence how much rainwater you can collect. A flat or tiled roof will reduce the yield coefficient, while green vegetated roofs reduce water collection as they absorb approximately 50%, meaning less water is available to be collected in the tank. This level of detail won't make too much difference on the average property size, but if large roof areas are being collected from, it is worth considering the roof material. Finally, we will look at intended use. When looking at demand, we ask questions to the customer on what they're intending to use the rainwater for. This can involve toilet flushing, reuse into the washing machine, outside irrigation, and general cleaning purposes. We can then estimate how many litres will be used per person per day, and then multiply this number by the number of days we are considering for the storage period of the tank. We then compare these two tank sizes together and take an average to determine the best tank for the solution. The average person can use around 22 litres of water a day for flushing their toilet, and a washing machine can use around 50 litres of water per wash on an average cycle. So this is where the number of people comes into the equation. The more people you have in your house, the more water you are going to use. It is also worth keeping in mind that the tank should be sized on the property measurement rather than the current owners. For example, if a couple is building a new home which they're going to live in with just 2 of them in it, then their non-potable water demands will be reasonably low. However, if they're building themselves a 4 or 5 bedroom home, then the system installed should be sized on the maximum occupancy level in case the house is sold in the future and may be occupied by more people. This way, the system is useful to the future owners of the property, rather than just suiting the current owners who don't have such high need for as much water.